Hello guys, welcome to this YouTube channel. A good day to everyone watching this video. In this video, I will be discussing some of the important facts pertaining to GATE 2024 examination. The official link to the GATE 2024 examination is given below. I would request all the GATE aspirants to look for any official update or announcements only in this official website link. Moving on. The contents that I would be discussing in this video will include general facts about this national level examination, the eligibility criteria that is required to make sure that you are eligible to appear for this GATE 2024 examination, the application fees for this examination, the required data and documents that a candidate needs to have prior to filling the online application form, and more facts about GATE Excel paper in detail. So the general facts include GATE stands for Graduate Aptitude Test in Engineering. The conducting body for this exam will be Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and the number of papers this time will be 30. Candidates can appear for 1 or 2 papers. So it is important to check for the 2 paper combinations before appearing for this exam. So if you're willing to take up GATE Excel examination with another paper, you can register for either GATE BT or GATE CY or GATE EY, provided the code for the first paper selected is GATE Excel. Moving on, the tentative GATE 2024 schedule will be February 3, 2024 and February 4, 2024, followed by February 10, 2024 and February 11, 2024. There will be 2 sessions that will be conducted during each day. That will include the forenoon session from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. and the afternoon session from 2:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. The exact schedule on which paper is going to be held at which slot and which session will be announced shortly depending on the number of registrations per paper. So the tentative exam cities include the following, and they fall into one of the given 8 zones constituting IISc Bangalore, IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi, IIT Guwahati, IIT Kanpur, IIT Kharagpur, IIT Madras and IIT Roorkee. Any changes in the list of cities will be intimated in the official GATE 2024 website. Hence, candidates are requested to regularly check the official website for more announcements. For choosing the examination city, a candidate can avail 3 choices from the same zone only. And depending on the time of registration and the availability, the candidate will be offered the exam city from the given 3 choices. However, under unforeseen situation, GATE officials do have the right to cancel the or not give the choices mentioned by the candidate. A new announcement made this time. Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore has decided to withdraw international centers for GATE 2024. Hence, foreign nationals and non-resident Indians are requested to choose their preferred exam cities within India only. They are responsible for their own arrangements and accommodation. Kindly make a note of this update. Coming to the eligibility criteria, it is very essential that all the candidates who are GATE aspirants meet the eligibility criteria before taking up this national level examination. For BE or BTech or BPharm candidates, they are allowed to give their examination from their 3rd year of undergraduate studies itself. So according to your degree, I would request you to kindly refer to the description of eligible candidates mentioned here in the 3rd column and fill up the application form accordingly. So there are different descriptions for BE or BTech or BPharm, BArch, BSc Research or BS, PharmD, and MBBS or BDS or BDSc, MSc or MA or MCA or equivalent, integrated ME or MTech, integrated ME or MTech or MPharm or dual degree, and BSc or BA or BCom. So candidates are requested to kindly look at the eligibility criteria and make sure they are eligible before filling the online application form. So more details regarding the eligibility through certifications from professional societies can be found in the GATE 2024 official website. So candidates are requested to go through the official website once again for this update. Moving on, it is very important section. It is a very important section now. The important dates to note. Beginning of the online application form. It is from August 24, 2023. So from August 24, 2023, candidates will be able to create an account and fill the online application form. The closing date for regular online application process will be September 29, 2023. So candidates who fill their online application form between August 24, 2023 to September 29, 2023 will be paying the normal regular fee. Closing date of extended online application process will be October 13, 2023. So candidates who fill their application form between September 29, 2023 and October 13, 2023 will be liable to pay an extra fee. Modifications that have to be made in the GATE 2024 application form will be from November 7, 2023 to November 11, 2023, again for an additional cost. So candidates are requested to go through the official website for this update as well. Availability of GATE 2024 admit cards will be from Jan 3, 2024. Again, the examination dates will be from February 3, 4, 10 and 11, 2024. Availability of candidates' response in their portal will be from February 16, 2024. Availability of answer keys will be from February 21, 2024. And challenging the answer key will be from February 22, 2024 to February 25, 2024. And the announcement of the GATE results in the online portal will be March 16, 2024. So the availability of the official GATE 2024 scorecards for download will be March 23, 2024. Again, these dates are liable to change and candidates are requested to regularly check the official GATE 2024 website for any new announcements or updates. Moving on, the application fee. The application period, as I already mentioned, begins on 24th August 2023. The application fees per paper for the exam is given in the tabulation below and candidates are requested to pay the application fee as per their given criteria. And during the extended period, that is from 30th September or 30th September to 13th October, candidates are liable to pay an additional fee. Moving on, candidates opting for the two-paper combination should pay twice the fee in their respective category mentioned above. So in case of any changes or modifications in the application form, these can be rectified during a given period of time that I've already mentioned in the important dates to remember for an additional cost. And these details can be availed from the official GATE 2024 website under the application fees tab. Moving on, the required data and documents that a candidate must have prior to beginning the online application form. So this is important to ensure a smooth application process without any hiccups. So the required data include the personal information, that is the name, date of birth, parent's name, parent's mobile number, etc. It is important to note that the name should be in accordance with the one in the valid photo ID. So this photo ID must be produced in original during the day of examination to the examination officials at the examination center for verification purposes. The name produced by the candidate in the application form will be displayed as such in the GATE 2024 scorecard. Therefore, it is important that you give the correct name or the spelling. And the prefixes or titles like Mr. or Mrs. or Doctor or Professor or Captain, etc. before the name should be avoided while filling the online application form. And the address of next important detail will be the address of communication along with the PIN code, the eligible degree details, the GATE papers the candidate is going to appear for along with the paper codes, the three choices of examination cities. Make sure they are all in the same zone only. And payment details for paying the application fee online, that is the net banking or credit card or debit card or UPI or wallet payments, etc. Required documents in hand. A candidate's photograph. The candidate's photograph should be a high quality image obeying the photo guidelines specified in the information brochure. If the photograph doesn't obey the one specified in the information brochure, the application system will not consider the candidate's photograph. Candidate signature, again this has to be a high quality image obeying the signature guidelines mentioned in the information brochure. Scanned copy of a valid photo ID document such as Aadhaar card, which is the most preferable one, passport, PAN card, voter ID, driving license, etc. The valid photo ID should have the name, date of birth, and a unique photo ID number of the candidate, and this photo ID should be produced in original to the examination officials at the examination center for verification purposes. If applicable, you should also have the scanned copy of category certificate, scanned copy of PWD certificate, and scanned copy of certificate of dyslexia in case you are applicable. Make sure that all these documents are scanned properly and are clear, failing which there will be a delay in processing the application and even cancellation of the candidature. And also make sure all the fees that you pay to the GATE 2024 portal are not refundable except for the case of multiple payments. Now moving on to the most important part of this video, that is discussion about GATE Excel paper in detail. So the examination mode is going to be CBT, that is computer based test. So candidates are requested to take a mock test that are also available in the GATE 2024 official website to get a hang of how the test is going to be conducted. The language of the questions will be English. The exam is going to be conducted for 3 hours, that is 180 minutes, and the sections will include general aptitude, which is also called GA, plus the candidate's selected subjects. The type of questions will be MCQs, that is multiple choice questions, MSQs, that is multiple select questions, wherein there will be more than one correct answer in the choices, more than one choice that will be correct for a given question, and NAT, that is numerical answer type question. So the marking scheme or the negative marking. Questions usually carry 1 or 2 marks. So MCQs will definitely have negative markings. So in case of a 1 mark MCQ, 1/3 marks will be deducted for incorrect answer, and if it is a 2 mark MCQ, 2/3 marks will be deducted for a 2 mark MCQ. No negative markings are there for MSQs and NATs. So it would be advisable that if you are able to kind of figure out the answer for an MSQ or NAT but you're not 100% sure, it is better to attempt such questions. However, there is no partial marking for MSQs. Now, discussing the paper pattern for GATE Excel examination. The general aptitude, that is GA, will be for 15 marks. And candidates will have to attempt the compulsory section, that is chemistry. And the code for chemistry questions will be code P, and it will comprise of 25 marks. And there will be next 5 sections belonging to 5 different subjects, and candidates are requested to choose two sections from these 5, and each section will constitute 30 marks, giving up totally 60 marks. And now the paper comes for 100 marks. So biochemistry, the code is Q for biochemistry. For botany, the code is R. And for microbiology, the code is S. And for zoology, the code is T. And for food technology, the code is U. And this is the most important point that I would like to make before I proceed on to further information, is that candidates are advised to make the right choice of the 2 sections that they are going to attempt in the GATE Excel examination much prior to the examination, during their preparation itself, so that it will be easy and there wouldn't be any time waste during the examination. Moving on to syllabus, starting with chemistry. So chemistry, the syllabus for chemistry and for all the other subjects are divided into sections, which makes it easier for preparation. So section 1 mainly deals with atomic structures and periodicity. So in this section, if you are well aware of all the formulae that you're going to learn, then it is going to be a cakewalk to attempt all these questions. However, There are calculation errors that every candidate is prone to, hence regular practice will make it easier. Section 2 will mainly deal with structure and bonding. Again, proper examples and theoretical examples will make this process a little easy, relating to molecular orbital and VB approaches for diatomic molecules, the Vesper theory, which is again a very important concept, the shape of molecules, hybridization, resonance, dipole moment, etc. Section 3. Section 3 is mainly theoretical because it mainly deals with SPD block elements. There's like a lot of facts that need to be memorized here. However, if you're kind of if you have memorized the facts really well, then this section is again going to be a cakewalk, because usually these questions are tested under the recall criteria of GATE 2024 examination, Excel examination. Section 4 will be chemical equilibria. Again, this section will have a lot of formulae to remember, and the questions can be quite tricky. Hence, practice questions from various prescribed textbooks will be pretty easy to attempt these questions. Section 5 will be electrochemistry. Again, this is another easier topic to score good marks, especially when it comes to Kohlrausch law of independent migration of ions and concepts relating to EMF, Nernst equations, etc. These are all direct formula equations, and candidates who have a very good hang of it will be able to secure full marks in this particular section. Moving on to section 6, it is going to be reaction kinetics, wherein we will be learning about rate constant, the order of reaction, especially the zero order, first order, second order, etc. Molecularity of the reaction, activation energy. Again, here you will have a set of formulae to remember, and knowing these formulae, you will be definitely able to secure very good marks in this particular section. So having these in mind, you will be able to secure good marks in chemistry. Moving on, section 7. Section 7 will be mainly based on thermodynamics. Again, it is a little tricky part, but of course, with good practice and good exposure to formulae, you will be able to secure good marks in this. The questions pertaining to thermodynamics concepts will be little tricky, as I've seen till date while solving questions, especially the ones related to enthalpy, internal energy, Kirchhoff's equation, heat reaction, Hess law. Hess law is it's pretty scoreable part of this particular section. However, a lot of practice is required in case of thermodynamics. Section 8 mainly deals with organic chemistry, and candidates who have very good interest in organic chemistry and have a very good memory power in remembering all the equations or all the name reactions, they will be able to secure good marks. However, a lot of practice is required in case of organic chemistry. To be frank, Markovnikov's rule and the one related to anti-Markovnikov's rule, the Karash effect, they have a good portion in the section 8. So having a clear concept clarity in these particular important topics of organic chemistry, you will be able to attempt most of the questions from organic chemistry. Section 9 is going to be a very big scoring part, because it's something of chemistry of biomolecules, because we are going to learn these stuff in the coming sections, especially the ones related to amino acids, proteins, nucleic acids, nucleotides, peptide sequencing, and other even the enzyme proteolytic methods, etc. The Beer-Lambert's law, which is a sure shot numerical that is going to be tested in GATE 20 any GATE exam, to be frank. So if you read other sections very carefully, or if you have a good hang of other sections that we are going to discuss now, then chemistry of biomolecules will be covered in those sections itself. So if you say the overall difficulty level of chemistry, yes, I would say that if you kind of have a good hang of all the important topics, especially the questions that are being repeatedly asked in the previous year's papers, then chemistry should be solvable. Moving on, I would be now discussing the syllabus for biochemistry. Usually, people get scared if I say biochemistry, because it's something that requires both concept clarity as well as memory-based understanding. So, but I would say biochemistry is the most logical part of the GATE 2024 or any GATE Excel paper, because if you have a good concept clarity, you will be sure of the answers that you're going to attempt. So the section 1 will mainly deal with organization of life, the importance of water, the structure and function of biomolecules, especially the amino acids, carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. So if you are well aware of the structures and the chemical constituents of each of the important molecules of life, the biomolecules, then section 1 is pretty easy. Moving on, section 2 is enzyme kinetics. This is the this is the most important numerical part of biochemistry, wherein you will be learning about regulation and inhibition, the vitamins and coenzymes, which is the memory part, I would say, memory part of this particular section. The bioenergetics and metabolism. This will have both memory come numerical type. So the generation and utilization of ATP, it is very important to have a very good concept clarity when it comes to ATP production as well as ATP usage. The metabolic pathways, especially the examiners love to test this metabolic pathways, especially when there is any kind of inhibition in a given step, or there's going to be some kind of promotion or increased catalytic rate for a given step. So they would be asking about the effects of the same. The main important pathways include the glycolysis, the TCA cycle, that is the tricarboxylic acid cycle, the pentose phosphate pathway, the oxidative phosphorylation, which is repeatedly tested in case of numericals, the gluconeogenesis, the glycogen and fatty acid metabolisms, and the metabolism of nitrogen containing compounds, especially the nitrogen fixation, amino acids, nucleotides, photosynthesis, and Calvin cycle, which mainly comes in the plant part, the botany part. Okay, and section 3 is the most scoring part of biochemistry, that is the biochemical separation techniques, because if you're well aware of the principles and the associated formulae, it is going to be a very good cakewalk for biochemistry. This section 3 of biochemistry, especially the logical questions pertaining to ion exchange chromatography, size exclusion chromatography, the affinity chromatography, the formulae associated with centrifugation like the centripetal force and things like that, the characterization of biomolecules by electrophoresis. Electrophoresis will definitely be asked in any GATE Excel paper as far as my experience is concerned. The DNA, DNA, protein, and protein interactions, which is a very favorite concept to test. The spectroscopy, that is UV visible fluorescence spectroscopy, and mass spectroscopy, wherein you will also be talking about the Beer-Lambert law, the usually asked question for numerical part to determine concentration and stuff like that. Moving on, discussing section 4, it's going to be a little bit of memory based, wherein you will be learning about the cell structure and the organelles. You have to kind of have a lot of facts in mind, but again, this is manageable if you prepare it with proper flowcharts and the proper codes to remember and things like that. The action potential, especially during the conductance of the nervous impulses and even the neurotransmitters, the transport across membranes, and there are few numericals associated with this as well. The membrane assembly and protein targeting, signal transduction, receptor ligand interactions, hormones, and neurotransmitters, which are going to be mainly discussed in section 4. So section 4, as I said, it's mostly recall based questions in GATE Excel examination. Section 5 is the most interesting part, wherein you'll be mainly dealing stuffs with molecular biology. You'll be mainly dealing stuffs with molecular biology. So you have DNA replication, you have transcription, translation, in case of both prokaryotes and eukaryotes, and it is important that you have the differences between the two well in your mind, so that you don't get confused during the examination, because the options that usually the examiners give to test the candidates are very tricky and very confusing in these cases. The DNA damage and repair mechanisms, the biochemical regulation of gene expression, wherein for prokaryotes operons will be quite frequently tested. The recombinant DNA technology, which is the hot topic in almost all the GATE Excel papers and their applications. There will also be a few numerical based questions tested here as well, regarding restriction enzyme digestion and stuffs like that. the PCR polymerase chain reaction, wherein you will have both theory and numerical type questions being tested in terms of the amount of DNA that is going to be produced after a given number of cycles. And you have SDM. SDM is a very important and upcoming topic in the field of molecular biology, that is site-directed mutagenesis. You have DNA microarray. NGS. NGS is also quite emerging topic in molecular biology, gene silencing and gene editing. So this is the most interesting part of the syllabus, I would say, and candidates need to have a good conceptual base in this as well. So moving on to section 6, this is going to be complete immunology, and candidates usually, as far as I've interacted, candidates usually love to learn immunology because I would feel that it's all interlinked, the concepts are well interlinked, and it's more logical when we kind of understand the reason behind each and every phenomenon in this, the cells of the immune system, the active and passive immunity. I still remember one of the gate papers asking for the difference between active and passive immunity in an MSQ question. And the complement system, that is also quite frequently tested. So the three pathways, you should be well aware of it. The antibody structure, especially the IgA, MD, E, etc. The function and diversity, the B cell and the T cell receptors, and the B cell and T cell activation, the how the life cycle of B and T cell is very important, where they are produced and where they mature. The major HMHC complex, that is major histocompatibility complex, that is also quite frequently tested as far as I've seen. And immunological techniques, especially immunodiffusion, immune electrophoresis, RIA, ELISA, flow cytometry, monoclonal antibodies, and their applications. So it is important that if you read immunology well, you will be able to get good marks or full marks in many questions, to be frank, because last year when I attempted, this year 2023, when I attempted the immunology questions in my GATE 2023 Excel paper, I was able to secure almost full marks in all of the immunology questions, and that gave me a major boost to my total. Moving on to the syllabus of botany, the code is R. So the section 1 mainly deals with plant systematics, the botanical nomenclature, and you have to remember a lot of things here, recall based, I would say. Section 2 would be plant anatomy, anatomy of the roots, stems and leaves, floral organs, embryo, and even young seedlings, primary and secondary meristems, stellar organization, vascular system and their ontogeny, etc. And moving on to section 3, it will be plant development, cell and tissue morphogenesis. Here it will be mostly developmental biology of plant related stuff, the life cycle of an angiosperm, the flowering plants, the development of male and female gametophyte, cell fate, determination and tissue patterning, and many more stuff. So you also have the role of hormones, mainly the auxins, cytokinins, gibberellins, etc. Section 4 is mainly biochemistry related, wherein you will be discussing stuff related to plant physiology and biochemistry. The plant physiology and biochemistry stuff, you will be learning about the photosynthesis mechanism, the C3, C4 and CAM cycle, which are the most important part of plant biochemistry and physiology part. So candidates who are opting for botany paper should be able to have a thorough understanding of these metabolic cycles. Section 5 will be genetics and genomics, wherein you will be reading about cell cycle and cell division, principles of Mendelian inheritance, linkage, recombination, the most logical part of genetics. You will also have a lot of numerical answer type questions from this section, and if you have a thorough understanding, you will be short of full marks from this section. So be well aware of all the concepts here and have your formulae in your hands, in your fingertips. Section 6 mainly deals with plant breeding, genetic modifications and genome editing, stuffs related to genetic engineering with plants basically. So it's a very, again, a very interesting topic. Usually biotechnologists really love reading these topics. You will also be learning about CRISPR-Cas9, the most upcoming topic in genetic engineering, the Krelok system, to generate chimera, plastic transformation, chemical mutagenesis. So these are, though they are recall based question, they are pretty easy to learn because they are more logical and they can be easily grasped up easily. So section 7 mainly deals with economic and applied botany. You'll be learning about the real-time applications on BT cotton, BT brinjal, golden rice, etc. General account of economically and medicinally important plants. I would say real-time applications in this particular section, and mainly recall questions from this particular section. So be prepared for that. Section 8 mainly deals with plant pathology, wherein you will be discussing about the nature and classification of plant diseases, the diseases of important crops caused by fungi, bacteria, nematodes, and viruses. You'll be talking about various plant viruses, their mechanism of action, their mechanism of invasion into the plant cells, etc., and resistance that plants usually have as a result of after the result of infection, etc. So this will again be there will be a lot of application based question from this side as well. And moving on, section 9 is ecology and environment, wherein you learn about the ecosystems, types, and this is pretty easy to learn because though the subject is very big, the facts to remember is pretty simple. And if you are well aware of all the related facts and related questions from this particular section, you will be able to score full from my experience that I've had. Okay, so ecology and environment is again a scoring part of this particular section, that is section 9 of botany. And not only for botany, any other sections like zoology, which also has ecology and animal behavior, that is also going to be fully scoring. Moving on to the next topic, that is microbiology. So section 1 will mainly deal with the historical perspective, the discovery of microbial world, the landmark discoveries related to the field of microbiology, the spontaneous generation, the controversies related to that, etc. And section 2 will mainly deal with methods in microbiology, where we'll be talking about culturing techniques, principles of microbial nutrition, the enrichment culture. I would request every candidate who aims for microbiology section to score good marks should have the different culture media suitable for which particular organism, microorganism to be in their fingertips, because I have seen many sure shot or very direct questions from this particular section. There's also other antigen antibody detection for microbial diagnosis, the light, phase contrast, fluorescence and electron microscopy, the PCR, real-time PCR for quantification of microbes, and again NGS techniques in this particular section. Moving on, section 3 is microbial taxonomy and diversity, mainly recall based questions wherein you have to remember a lot. Bacteria, archaea, and their broad classification, eukaryotic microbes, yeast, moles, protozoa. There's a lot to remember here, but of course it is manageable. Section 4 would be mainly based on prokaryotic cells, their structure and function, the cell walls, the cell membranes and their biosynthesis, the gram-positive and the gram-negative bacteria, the mechanisms of solute transport across the membranes, the flagella and villi in bacteria, the capsules, the cell inclusions, the endospores, the gas vesicles. These are all very interesting topics of microbiology, and it will be really good if candidates have a very good concept clarity in this to secure full marks in this from this particular section. Moving on to section 5, that is going to be microbial growth. So here you will have NAT, that is numerical answer type questions based on the graph, that is the lag, log and the stationary phase, the growth curve, basically the growth curve graph that I'm referring to, the 3 stages, and then mathematical expression of the exponential growth phase. Usually this particular numerical is tested in the microbiology section in almost all the GATE Excel papers, the measurement of growth and growth yields, the synchronous growth and continuous culture, effect of environmental factors on growth, bacterial, biofilm. This is something that is an emerging topic in biotechnology, and biofouling. Section 6 will include control of microorganisms, totally the disinfection and sterilization techniques. They have each techniques principle and the methods and assessment of efficacy. So it is very important that you have a good concept clarity in all the disinfection and sterilization methods. So moving on, section 7 is going to be the microbial metabolism. Again, the biochemistry aspect, wherein you'll be reading about the energetics, the redox reactions and electron carriers, the electron transport chain and oxidative phosphorylation, an overview of metabolism, glycolysis, pentose phosphate pathway, the Entner Dowdorf pathway, which is also quite frequently tested, glyoxylate pathway, the citric acid cycle, fermentation, aerobic and anaerobic respiration, chemolithotrophy, photosynthesis, Calvin cycle, biosynthetic pathway for fatty acid synthesis, which is quite frequently tested, common regulatory mechanisms and synthesis of amino acids, and regulation of major metabolic pathways, including the mechanism of drug actions. So this is going to be the most logical part, I would say, and requires a lot of efforts, greater efforts to master section 7 of microbiology paper in GATE Excel. And moving on, section 8 will mainly deal with microbial diseases, wherein you will read about the different types of microbial diseases and their host pathogen interactions, especially the aftermath of the disease, the normal microbiota, classification of infectious diseases, the reservoirs, that is going to be very important in case of certain diseases, the nosocomial infection, the ones obtained from hospital infections, opportunistic infections, and emerging infectious diseases. So mechanism of microbial pathogenicity, etc. Vaccines, talking about vaccines, the active immunity, passive immunization, immune deficiency, human diseases caused by viruses, bacteria, and pathogenic fungi, and their mode of action in causing the diseases. So there should be a clear understanding in all the major diseases, and it is also important that you get regularly updated with the newly upcoming diseases and newly upcoming drugs for the treatment of the given diseases. Moving on, section 9, this is going to be the most scoring part, that is the chemotherapeutics and antibiotics, wherein there's going to be general characteristics of antimicrobial drugs, antibiotics, classification, molecular mechanism of mode of action and resistance, antifungal and antiviral drugs. Candidates are also requested to make a note of phage therapy as well in treating diseases. So that is also important. Section 10 is going to be microbial genetics, wherein this is the most, again, going to be the logical part. So, and the most interesting part. So here you will be talking about the types of mutation caused due to UV, chemical mutagens, the selection of mutants, like the blue-white screening, etc. Bacterial genetic system, transformation, conjugation, transduction, recombination, plasmids, transposons, that is the mobile genetic elements, the DNA repair, regulation of gene expression through operons, the repression and induction operon model. This is very, very important, especially when you attempt microbiology or any genetics related questions in GATE Excel paper. The bacterial genome with special reference to E. coli is mainly taken into account, the phage lambda and its life cycle, RNA mutations in virus genomes, and virus recombination and reassortment, basic concepts of microbial genomics. So section 10 is again going to be a little time consuming when you're going to prepare for microbiology, but you should have a clear cut understanding in learning microbial genetics, because once you have a clear picture, you will be able to secure full marks. And section 11 is going to be microbial ecology, and this is again going to be about microbial interactions, the carbon, sulfur, and nitrogen cycles. So we have been learning this since our higher secondary classes, and brushing up concepts related to that, and kind of reading extra, will be able to you will be able to secure really good marks in this particular section associated with vascular microorganisms associated with vascular plants like the rhizobium, the bioremediation, uncultivable microorganisms, basic concepts of metagenomics and metatranscriptomics, And some upcoming topics, if you're like kind of updated through internet or certain books or any journals, you will be able to do well in this particular section as well. Moving on to zoology syllabus, section 1 mainly deals with animal diversity. You'll be learning about the distribution, systematics, and classification of animals, the phylogenetic relationships based on classical and molecular phylogenetic tools. Again, this is kind of recall based. You have to remember a lot. But if you are able to remember almost the important concepts in this particular section, you will be able to secure good marks, if not full marks, good marks in this particular section. Section 2 is evolution, origin and history of life on Earth, the theories pertaining to evolution, the natural selection, adaptation, and speciation. Which scientists have given which particular theory it is important to note, and the principle behind each theory. Everything is pretty important in case of evolution, and the notion behind each theory is also equally important. And section 3 is genetics. This is the most logical part of zoology, wherein you'll be learning about the basic principles of inheritance. You will also have a lot of numerical type questions being tested here, based on Mendelian's principle and based on epigenetics and factors like that, molecular basis of heredity, sex determination, and sex linked characteristics, especially pedigree questions you will be getting from this genetics section. And there'll be a lot of questions based on this. There'll be comprehensive based questions as well for pedigree type questions. And cytoplasmic inheritance, maternal inheritance, linkage and recombination, the percentage of linkage, percentage of recombination, mapping of genes, and finding out the mapping of genes is a very frequent question that is being asked in a zoology paper of GATE Excel. Population genetics, the Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium, genetic disorders, especially sex-related and even autosomal disorders, and the roles of model organisms in understanding genetic principles like Drosophila, etc. Section 4 will be biochemistry and molecular biology, wherein you will be talking about the general stuff like nucleic acids, proteins, lipids, and carbohydrates. They will be tested not as very high level as the one in biochemistry, but somewhat similar levels. But you will be getting a complete, you should be getting a complete picture of the entire section, like the Krebs cycle, glycolysis, enzyme catalysis, hormones and their actions, roles of vitamins and minerals, etc. Enzyme catalysis, you should also be able to do enzyme kinetics, and you should also be knowing the competitive, non-competitive, and uncompetitive enzymes. Moving on, section 5 would be cell biology. Mainly you will have a lot to remember in this, recall based mostly. So basic principles of cellular microscopy, structure of cell, the cytoskeletal organization, cellular organelles and their structure and the function, cell cycle, cell division, chromosomes and chromatin structure. Though this section might seem small, there's a lot to learn under each and every word that is mentioned here, because there's like a lot of concepts interlinked for this particular section. And section 6 would be gene expression in eukaryotes, eukaryotic genome organization, regulation of gene expression, transposable elements, that is the mobile genetic elements. There's again a lot to remember here and a lot to understand. Section 7 would be mainly animal anatomy and physiology. This is mainly recall based. You'll be doing a comparative physiology, the respiratory system, the muscular system, the circulatory system, the digestive system, the nervous system, the excretory system, the endocrine system, the reproductive and the skeletal system. So in this case, you will be learning about how each and every organ system has evolved in different types of organism, the hierarchy in that manner, and even in case of human beings, you'll be learning about the human anatomy. It is very important that you have a good hang over this, because I've seen many direct questions being posted on human anatomy in GATE examinations. Section 8 is parasitology and immunology. Again, this is the most interesting part. Every candidate would love to completely learn the nature of parasite, host-parasite relation, protozoan and helminthic parasites, the immune response. Again, as discussed in biochemistry, the various topics pertaining to immunology, cellular and humoral immune response, cellular and humoral immune response, the B cell and the T cell mediated things. And then section 9, we will be discussing mainly about developmental biology. Here is mainly mainly recall based questions. We will be learning about gametogenesis, the embryonic development, cellular differentiation, organogenesis, metamorphosis, the model organisms. This is the most important thing that is being tested in developmental biology consecutively for several years, used in developmental biology, genetic and molecular basis of development, and stem cells. This is again a very interesting topic. Usually candidates would love to read in case of developmental biology. Section 10 would be ecology, wherein you will be learning about the ecosystem, the animal distribution, ecological niche and its contribution to ecological diversity, the food chain, the population dynamics, again species diversity, zoo geography, biogeochemical cycles, the nitrogen, the phosphorus, the sulfur, water cycle, etc., the conservation biology, ecotoxicology. So these are the common topics that we are being exposed to since our higher secondary grade. So I would suggest every candidate to go through all the concepts mentioned here, so that you will be able to score good marks in most of the questions mentioned under this particular section. Similarly, for the section 11, that is animal behavior, types of behavior like the courtship, mating, and territoriality, the instinct, learning, and memory, especially when it comes to altruistic behavior and things like that across the animal taxa, communication, pheromones, evolution of behavior in animals. So section 10 and 11 can usually combine together while preparing, because both these sections are kind of interlinked, and it becomes easier if you can combine these two to learn. Moving on to the last part, that is the food technology, the syllabus related to that. So food technology has 4 sections, but each section is pretty voluminous. So section 1 will mainly deal with food chemistry and nutrition. You will be talking about the carbohydrates, the polysaccharides including starch, the pectic substances and dietary fiber, gelatinization and retrogradation of starch, proteins, and you will also be talking about pigments. We'll be talking about lipids and food flavors, that is also being quite regularly tested. The enzymes are also regularly tested. The nutrition, especially for a balanced diet, and chemical and biochemical changes that occur in food during different types of processing techniques. So it's pretty voluminous. Section 2 will mainly deal with food microbiology, characteristics of microorganisms, so morphology of bacteria, yeast, mold, and actinomycetes, etc., the spores, and microbial growth. Again, you will be talking about the growth and the death kinetics. We'll also be talking about serial dilution. That is a very common laboratory technique which each candidate should be knowing. Food spoilage, rancidity, and all you'll be talking about here. Toxins from microbes, pathogens, and non-pathogens, including Staphylococcus, Salmonella, Shibboleth, Escherichia, Bacillus, Clostridium, and Aspergillus genera. Fermented foods and beverages, curd, yogurt, cheese, pickles, soya sauce, etc. So you'll be learning a lot, and you'll be tested in this particular topic more, because it's mainly food microbiology related. And food products, section 3 will mainly deal with food products technology. You'll be talking about the various processing principles. So a lot of logical questions you can expect from this particular section, or even comprehension based questions like thermal processing, chilling, freezing, dehydration, addition of preservatives and food additives, irradiation, fermentation, hurdle technology, intermediate moisture foods, etc. So here you will be talking about the various up-to-date processing techniques, and you should be well aware of the principles behind each, and you should also be well aware of the type of foods that are subjected to a given processing technique, and this will be really helpful for answering questions from this, because there will be a lot of logical questions from this particular section. And last section, it's food engineering, mass and energy balance, momentum transfer. You'll be asking a lot of you'll be asked a lot of numerical answer type questions. So you'll be having flow rate, pressure drop relationships for Newtonian fluids flowing through pipe, the Reynolds number, the heat transfer by conduction, convection, radiation, heat exchangers. So you should be well aware of the concepts, the thermal operations, the mechanical operations, the mass transfer operations. So you should be very clear or very well versed in these particular concept in this particular section, because if you have done a good job in this, then you will be able to secure full marks, because the numericals usually asked in gate excel examination will have almost all the data, and you don't have to worry anything about the assumptions. So it will be quite direct if you have learned the concepts well. Otherwise, you will not be able to attempt the question at all. So it is important that you take up the numerical answer type questions seriously, because you also don't have any negative marking for the same. So regarding reference books, so if you ask anybody regarding what reference books should I have in order to score well in GATE Excel examination, is that there will be innumerable books that will be prescribed if you search in the internet, or you ask your professors or your seniors, etc. So in my case, for a strategic preparation, I would say refer specific books for specific topics, because that will speed up your preparation and will also enhance your preparation. Because in this moment, you should have a very strategic preparation. You shouldn't be reading everything together, but you should be reading smartly and steadily at the same time. You are beginning your preparation in August, so you should be able to score a very good AIR at the end of your GATE 2024 examination. So I would suggest specific books for specific topics, and these references will be incorporated in each topic video that I'm going to post in this channel. So I would say that you refer those references for the given topic and enhance your preparation in a very smart way. Solve previous year's question that is going to play a very pivotal role in your preparation, and you will also be able to see a very good boost in your rank, like if you are a repeater, and you will also be able to crack the exam well if you're taking it for the first time. So thank you. Before that, I would like to tell one more important thing. The strategy that I used for my GATE 23, my strategy, I would say my strategy for my GATE 2023 examination. So I attempted biochemistry and zoology in my GATE 2023 paper. This is because I found many topics that I'm confident in these two sections, and I also found a lot of overlapping topics in the same. So if you take the syllabus of biochemistry and zoology, you will find a lot of overlapping topics. So if you kind of read biochemistry really well, you will have a good hangover on few sections of zoology, so that will speed up my preparation. But if you ask me, which two sections should I attempt in order to secure a good rank in GATE 2024? I would say first go through the entire syllabus thoroughly, kind of analyze each and every section, analyze your weak points, analyze your strengths, analyze your weak points. So that will be very important in order to choose the section. Don't choose the section during your examination. That will only waste your time. That will only bring your morality down. So please don't do it. If you take my advice, I would suggest you to choose the section even before you start preparing for your GATE 2024 examination. In that case, you will be able to do really well in the examination, prepare really well, and even practice a lot of questions. So my humble request would be, choose the sections well in advance. If you are aiming for GATE 2024, choose your optional sections now itself before you start your preparation, and then prepare really well. You will be able to definitely do well. The exam is not very hard to not crack it. It is definitely crackable. And if you really follow my videos that I'm going to post in this channel, you will definitely be able to do wonders. So I would request all the GATE aspirants best wishes, and all the best to everyone preparing for this competitive national level examination. I would request all of you to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and stay tuned for more exciting content. Thank you.